We're already a third of the way through the Major League Baseball season. Maggie Gray, Ted Keith, Stephen Cannella, lots of things to talk about this weekend. But let's start with the Dodgers. Ted, who is the best pitcher on that squad?
I think it might still be the guy who has the fifth best ERA, but that's Clayton Kershaw. We just don't know because he's only made 6 starts this year because he came back from injury. But based on the performance we saw last weekend from Josh Beckett, he might be the best pitcher. He not only threw a no-hitter, but he got 23 guys in a row out at one point, which is, obviously pretty close to 27 in a row you need for a perfect game. So I've been really impressed with him. Dan Herron as well has had a nice bounce back year. That's 2 guys in their 30s that they're getting a lot out of. And that doesn't even get into the guys who we figure we're going to be their top 3 who've pitched pretty well too.
Yeah, you look at the last 4 starts for Zach Greinke, Josh Beckett, and Hyunjin Ryu. It's an incredible run for all 4 of them. Ryu, who's been the worst of the bunch over that last 4, he's walked 3 guys in his last 4 starts while he struck out 22. So even though he's getting hit a little bit, he's not putting runners on base. It's really a shame for that rotation that their bullpen isn't at least average, because if their bullpen was anywhere close to average, Dodgers might be looking at first place in the NL West. They've turned things a little bit around after a really slow start. That rotation, I think, can carry them. I think the Dodgers are going to get hot in the middle of the summer.
Let's change coast for a second and go to Toronto, who is off to a great start in the AL East. They are leading the division. Edwin Encarnacion has joined some really impressive company. What does it mean for him?
Well, he's actually been sort of trending in this direction. This is not as much like Jose Bautista, his teammate, who in 2010 burst out of nowhere with 54 home runs. Everyone said, where did that come from? And he's kept it up. Encarnacion's been flying under the radar for the last couple of years, having some really solid seasons, and a nice find for Toronto when they picked him up. And now this year he's got 16 home runs in May to tie a record, and having one of the all-time great power months in baseball history, which is really saying something. I mean, he's up there with names like Mickey Mantle right now for most home runs in a month. So as long as he's hitting like that and Bautista's doing what he does, they're going to have a middle of the order that's as good as any in baseball. Maybe the best in the American League now that the Tigers don't have Cabrera and Fielder anymore. The question is, what do they get from everybody else, especially that pitching staff? It's been basically Mark Burley and no one else really stepping up to deliver for them. So I'm not totally sold on the Blue Jays yet, even though they are a first-place team.
Yeah, to me, the surprise about Encarnacion is not so much the power month he's had in May, but the awfully slow start he got off to in April. He was terrible for the first 6 weeks of the season, which after the last couple of years he's had was really a surprise to see. He's hitting the ball now the way he's hit the ball the last few years. Obviously, the power numbers are a little higher than you'd expect, and he's up there with some historic names. But this is Edwin Encarnacion. He's a really good hitter. He's one of the best power hitters in the game. This is not a fluke to me. I think we're going to see some fireworks this weekend. He's got 2 more days in May to try to break some monthly records. If he gets to 18 home runs, that ties the American League record for most in any month.
So we go from 2 teams that are contenders as we're a third of the way through the season to a team that isn't yet. They have a really intriguing prospect who's been called up now, George Springer. Is this a case for bringing up some of your guys, Ted, even if you aren't in contention?
I think it is. The situation was a little bit different for Houston. I mean, they were literally drawing 0.0 TV ratings.
Animal House rating. Yeah. 0.1.
So they had to do something after 3 straight years of losing at least 106 games. They couldn't sit on a prospect like George Springer, who all their fans heard about all winter, heard about him all throughout spring training. Then they start the season, and he's not a part of the team. And you want to wait until the May or June deadline for the Super 2 to pass, so you don't have to pay the guy for an extra year. But really, what are you holding on to him for? Because who knows where that franchise is going to be in 6 years. They needed help in the meantime keeping their fan base instead of just saying the future is coming, the future is coming.
Aside from the larger issue of, yes, bring these guys up, don't wait for financial reasons, especially if you have nothing to play for this year. Let these guys learn at the big league level. It's just a sign that what the Astros are doing, it's the first real sign we've seen that this rebuilding plan is working or has a chance to work. But having Springer come up, having him have a lot of success, it's something for their fans to hold on to. And I think it really is going to help the rest of the organization too. When other players, other prospects say, they see what Springer's doing and say, hey, look, we're on the right path here. I think the Astros, there's something to this plan. 3 years down the road, I don't think we're going to be seeing a whole lot of 0.0 TV ratings for that team.
Some storylines to watch through this weekend and beyond. Ted Keith, Stephen Cannella, thanks guys.